if the Camarilla are smart and keep the fact that the sheriff is indisposed on the download for a while, we can expect a while before the Sabbat roll in.
Yeah, that's
Because he
not
was
gonna
gone for an
happen.
entire week. Just gone.
Yeah, that's the thing. No one knew where he was, though. No one actually knew. I mean, except for fucking us. Um, so there was no reason for the spot to go, oh, he's gone, let's roll in. Now they'll know, hell, they probably already know that he is indisposed of and where he is. Or at least have a rough idea that he's where he is.
They might. You're giving them a lot of credence. You're giving them a lot of power they might not have.
True, true. I am leaning towards the idea that they have more knowledge than they very well may, but I think that's the safest course. If we assume that they know, oh, what bad comes from that? Well, I guess it may make us support the wrong person. That's a good argument. Um, but that said, them knowing would be extremely bad. The idea that they may not know for, I don't know, a few days, I'll probably give it till tomorrow, the day after tomorrow at the latest. There is no way that this information is going to stay quiet for very long. And there's no way that some thin blood's not going to cross and hear something and say something to the wrong person, or some ghouls going to some independent schools going to run around saying things. There's oh, fuck. There is a lot of people that'll carry that information across across
And
those bridges.
and don't forget that it's very likely that Sevalot saw the whole thing looking through the sheriff's eyes. So it might already got them.
That said, I don't think Sevilla would give a fuck about telling them.
I also don't think the Civilot would actually tell them because he seemingly despises them.
Well, I mean, didn't it? Byron doesn't know this, but it was said in the thing. I think it was the Baron said that the intent was to let the Sabbat have the city again. That he actually accused the sheriff of that, as I recall. I don't know if that was just hyperbole or what, but I believe he did.
Yeah, that said, we don't even know, out of character, we don't even know that was said, and anyways, it could be any of a number of things. He could have literally meant it, he could have meant it as a way to get people's minds in a certain direction, he could have just been ill-informed of who's allied with who, he could have just not know, he could be guessing, there's any sorts of explanations.
Indeed, the primary thing coming too is that you don't know how Boss Callahan knew.
Right. And the last thing Byron's been thinking of is that says there is one solution to this whole mess. Remember that one time when we visited, I think it was the sheriff, and there was that meeting of all the highfalutin folk down there at the garden, and Calibros was there. So Calibros still is kind of technically the prince, even though he abdicated. I mean, he was the last guy. So
that said, he abdicated. If he comes back up and says he wants to be prince, I think that's not going to do much to. I don't think he's going to win that.
There's no telling why exactly Calibros might have been there either. Only that the mood of the city has definitely increasingly soured towards Calibros. By and large, Kindred have become more and more resentful towards him for basically ditching the princedom. And he was like, I'm just, clearing the way for, a more wartime, not like a more peacetime type prince, a full-time prince. Everyone who's not Nosferatu interprets Calibros leaving as going to deal with clan affairs, because those were apparently more important than overseeing the entire city for the Camarilla. And really, his abdication is a huge reason why the city is so unstable.
All right, well, fair enough. Byron, I guess Byron will just say, well, then, I'm out of ideas. Looks like this, at least for the short term, this city is just effed.
So if we just go about our normal routines, don't do anything that would, be like considered suspicious. Live our unlives, okay?
Sounds good. And while I have you on the phone, I'm just coming from a meeting with Grimith Starr, and I believe I've convinced her that all her investigations will end in a dead end. So that should be no problem. Hopefully there'll be no hard feelings there against us.
Good, good, good. I'm heading back my way towards Astoria. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Joseph,
stay...
do you need anything?
No?
Just asking, man.
Oh, okay, that just sort of... I don't know what the... I could need that you... What?
I got aspects, bro. Got what you need.
Oh.
Hope he's still
Oh.
in Match's business.
That said, I don't think I'm going to be learning aspects from Match.
We've never asked Hatch what he knows. He might actually have what you need.
That said, even if he does, I don't think I'd want to learn it from him.
He has telepathy. He already knows what you need before you ask him.
So he does have specs.
No, I think telepathy is like in a lot of things. I think dominates.
It's actually the fourth dot of aspects.
It is.
Telepathy.
It is? Oh, geez.
It is. At any rate, Marcus is going to be heading back to his haven. Are Byron and Joseph going to be sequestering themselves within their havens as well?
No, I think I'm gonna say this out because there's no way I can do this in chat. I want to go. Well, no. I mean, you guys know I'm gonna do it anyways. I want to send Craig down to Staten Island.
Okay. What do you want Craig to do at Staten Island? You know, a ghoul on his own.
I'll actually send what I want to say to Callahan in a message.
Okay. Instead of like trying to show up there in person, it's fine.
Yeah, Byron is going to, I guess, he's going to start looking through any properties that they might have that he might be able to use as, say, a bolt hole in case he needs to make himself scarce in the next few weeks.
There certainly are things that are currently vacant and, you know, in the process of changing hands or haven't found a buyer yet.
Right. So I think he may, not tonight, but I mean, he'll talk to Evelyn before the next day, and I think the next day he'll probably move into one of those and just sleep in the basement or whatever, assuming one has it. He's going to want to be on the ground floor with multiple exits and that type of thing.
Okay. At any rate, since the three of you are going to be just returning to your havens, and Joseph's going to be doing a whole message thing, but beyond that, we'll just have this be a short session, less than 4 hours. But so much got done, like I said earlier, that it definitely does seem like it's been a long time. 2 experience points for each character. Not really a situation where you can spend the experience points, though, unless an extended amount of time passes. Like if the next session begins the next day.
It probably will be the next day or the day after that, so not very long.
Yeah. No spending experience.
I mean, I only have 4 experience points anyways. I wasn't going to expend them on anything, at the moment.
And certainly the time can go however long it takes. I will reveal, as in the immediate future, as it turns out, Marlena just couldn't make it. Apparently 100% of the Anarchs are in full support of Marlena being the next Prince of New York City.
And there's quite a few anarchs, isn't there?
Staten Island.
Roughly as many anarchs in that borough as there are kindred in another borough. Probably looking at around maybe 45 to 55.
So that's
Still a sig.
And unlike, many of the other Camarilla kindred, they are in apparently full unison with that. Perhaps the entire Anarch force showed up there into Elysium. Marcus didn't really get up to count. He just heard all those footsteps.
Counting is not his forte.
Yes, as a thing that come out, and just for one reason or another, perhaps she was orchestrating events, or maybe in talks with someone else, not there to witness the big moment. But, yeah, rather than Boss Callahan vying for the princedom himself and trying to intrude, then all the Anarchs fully committed in supporting Marlena. Whom none of you have ever seen still.
You know what? I'm trying to believe that Marlena, it doesn't exist. She's just something made up by the Bruja to believe that they have some power in the city. But that's a significant amount of people behind her, and I'm assuming all of the non-Anarch Bruja supporters as well. Bruja, whatever, however pronounced.
Who knows?
Put it both ways.
Certainly, folks tend to draw along their clan lines, so by all means, the Bruja would identify most with Marlena, so she definitely has supporters outside of Staten Island as well.
True. And why was Mr. Vanderweyden not there? Or do we not know that?
Well, you didn't know why Marlena was not there. You certainly don't know why Carter Vanderweyden wasn't there. You didn't spend your time like, I'm gonna call Carter Vanderweyden. Carter, why weren't you there? I was expecting you. We were going to have cookies together. Who knows? Perhaps you'll find out in another session. And no Tremere either.
And very true Bruja.
Not everyone cares about showing up to Elysium.
True. It was like there was like a shit ton of Toreador, a few Ventru, a few Nosferatu, and then like a smattering of Bruja, and then some people were just like, I'm here. Yeah, for all I know, some of the people there could have been, Cappadocians or something else. I don't know. I don't even know if any of them exist.
There might be. Perhaps. Marcus has never seen a Cappadocian before.
I don't even know if they truly exist. All I know is the story is the Giovanni stole their power from them.
and killed them all.
Not all.
Perhaps all of them.
That's the story, is that they killed them all. That said, the book includes a branched clan of Cappadocians.
Yep, completely optional. They might still exist. They might all be extinct.
Shit, I was gonna say something. Oh, just an aside, if you do want to blow up my church, I'm designing a map.
Well, I mean, just take your time with it, because as soon as you give them the map, you know it's going to get destroyed. So,
So, we had this question like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. How do your three characters feel about this abbreviated session? And, well, I think it was action-packed enough. And how do you as players feel?
On one hand, Marcus is happy that Kadir got stopped. On the other hand, his original choice for the princedom no longer can become prince, and he's still depressed because he could have, stopped it from happening. He's still depressed.
Byron really doesn't know what to think yet. I mean, he's just, I mean, it's, things are just happening very quickly, so he hasn't had time to really process it. He's like, well, Helen Panhill is dead. That's great. That's nominally, I guess, we would have gone for just because she's a Ventrue, but he didn't have any love for her or anything. Yeah, so he just kind of wants to see what happens. He's waiting for the chaos to happen, and hopefully it doesn't happen to him for once.
Joseph is doing a dance, dictating the letter to Craig because he can't stop dancing from the Anarchs actually having made a move. And I'm actually happy to see the Anarchs having done something. Something major that killed someone I wanted killed. That was threatening Joseph.
He's not dead.
He might be back.
He'll be back. That said, I hope that we somehow manage to find a way to get a hold of his body and leave him out to the sun.
Now, mind you, I would rather me as a player, if you got his body, for Marcus to Diablerize him, but that's just me as a player talking. Marcus would not want to kill him at all.
Joseph's realizing that his hidden diablerizing someone would be an absolutely fucking horrible idea.
So, I don't know, it might just be my end. Chat appears to be, like, dead silent for, like, the past 10 minutes.
No, it hasn't moved for me either. Oh, no. There's...
oh, there we go. Well, that's because, yeah, Jordan. There we go. How fucking strong is Duke Wiley to take out the frenzied sheriff in one blow? I mean, it's just a stake. It could happen to anyone.
I mean, Marcus could have done it. Joseph could have done it. All you have to do is get lucky on a roll.
How long did it take to count with Gerard? Gerard is one of the characters who's actually involved and interwoven. I mean, he's the creator of ShrekNet. That's something that White Wolf created. They named him.
He actually lived in New York City?
Yes. Just like Theo Bell. Theo Bell exists. White Wolf created him. I didn't create everyone. Well, David's actions because of the current time frame. I don't think I'm gonna do a mini session for him. I'm just gonna give him like an info dump of what he encountered during his time off. And, of course, he's going to be doing Nosferatu sneaky things. I think it's for the best anyway, because Nosferatu sneaky things should not be shared with anyone who's not Nosferatu.
Okay, if I remember right, Laren, the rules for staking is you have to do 3 damage on like a 9 difficulty shot. So assuming he's got some really good stats, that actually wouldn't be ridiculously difficult. It would just be, fairly lucky.
You could say that perhaps he had readied himself to try anything, and we'll go ahead and say that I did not think the sheriff would be frenzying there. I thought there would be more diplomacy, intrigue, and certainly I could have said he didn't frenzy, but I decided, you know what? This is outright public humiliation. People are infringing upon the sheriff and his time of greatness whenever he's proclaiming himself prince. Let's go ahead and roll one anyway. Sheriff got 3 1s and some other low numbers.
I am sad I was not there because I would have loved to have had a hand in causing that frenzy.
Here's the thing. Byron would have been better off there, and Joseph would have been better off there. The guy that went there is the guy that's like, I'm really not getting much out of this. Politics aren't my forte.
Mortified, the Penguin says, so do you think we might someday see some Black Ops, the gang infiltrating Dragon Metro? It could happen. The player characters have the freedom to do just about anything their heart desires within the sandbox. I mean, we are covering the entire New York City metropolitan area here, so there you go. Leviticus Maximus says, shall we see some more Theobald? That could perhaps happen.
I mean, probably one of his few people he considered a friend just got staked in
It is
Elysium,
it
and
is
no one did it.
possible that given the chaos and anarchy within the city, that his primary task will be delegated to overseeing New York until the Princeton issue is settled. Because it apparently can't handle its own shit.
Not with the,
Theobald's gonna appear at my front door, isn't he?
joke's on him, you've been evicted.
He's gonna appear at your front door and no one's gonna know where the fuck you live. It's gonna be an entire upside down world.
Are you Grimith from the YouTube channel?
Yes. That would be me.
Grimith with one M.
Indeed. Yes, Charlie the Lizard, it is certainly possible that, the Archon will be, delegated, perhaps even the Inner Council of the Camarilla, although they had their meeting earlier in the year, may take a considerable amount of interest themselves. After all, a lot of organization and planning went into the Battle of New York to make it last for only a week and to quickly roll the Sabbat out of the city. It would be unfortunate if something were to happen to that.
Yeah, if the council get involved, everyone fucking dies.
Oh yeah, chaotic idealism. Oh yeah, there's every kindred is familiar with how that looks. Besides, in Elysium, there's this whole concept of non-violence, and while the Anarchs did violate that in their own way, outright public humiliation is also something you should try to avoid in Elysium as well. That's why you veil and couch your threats. The man who just proclaimed himself the Prince of New York lost his goddamn mind, and what's more telling is that no one spoke up in his defense or on his side at any point during that encounter.
Maybe everyone in their hearts truly did not want him to be Prince.
Yeah, person 4242. Session's over.
True story.
Theo is probably going to be a little bit upset. We might see, or he might be busy doing other things.
I mean, he has the entire, East Coast as his thing?
Pretty much.
He might be freaking down in Miami right now dealing with something else. I mean, yes, he can book a flight to New York, but he might have other issues that he has to deal with at the moment, so it might be a while before the Archon gets back to New York City. I believe the Gangrel are just gonna keep doing what they've always been doing, being independent. It's still, a year before they join the Sabbat?
With the in-game timeline around that, yeah.
So yeah, they're just gonna be like another. There's gonna be like another independent clan with some members saying they're part of the Camarilla, with some members saying they're part of the Sabbat, and whatever. It's just they're gonna be doing what they always do. Now that I've mentioned it, we actually haven't dealt with any of the Sabbat or Camarilla clans. We haven't met any Setites or any Ravnos, Assamites, Giovanni. I'm missing one.
I forget, is this before or after the Ravenos go fucking crazy?
Ravnos are still out in force.
Yeah, the Week of Nightmares hasn't happened yet.
There might not even be a Week of Nightmares.
I mean, Gehenna may have, because what we've done here, Gehenna may have been completely, stopped. We don't know.
Or we may have just made it move a lot faster, and the Week of Nightmares will actually be Gehenna.
We don't talk about Gehenna and the Camarilla.
Gehenna
The antediluvians are not real.
But yes, LP Watcher, in the meta plot of Old World of Darkness, the Gangrel leave the Camarilla and then they join the Sabbat. Because the whole antediluvian thing.
Which might end up being, connected to the reason why they left the Camarilla in the first place. Because no one in the Camarilla believes in the antediluvians.
Yeah, there's a lot of... This is really weird, but in some situations, the Sabbat seem like the more better organization, just in some degrees. And a lot of other things, the Camarilla seems like the better organization in a lot of other things. It's like, yes, the antediluvians exist, but you guys are kind of assholes, Sabbat. It's all these weird little things. Makes the Sabbat versus Camarilla thing very interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't think we'll be seeing Beckett at all in this game. I don't want to see Beckett. That character is something I wish White Wolf would not have done.
Next self-control roll that Marcus fails. You see a portrait of a interesting-looking gangrel. What?
Nope. Just gonna nope away. Another thing about the early White Wolf games is they pretty much follow the Judeo-Christian lines pretty well.
Yeah, Crimson, I've got I've got a question. Why is Map Tools telling me you're writing on my map?
The map has been disconnected, bro.
Yeah, I know, and I opened up my own one, and it's telling me Crimson is typing something.
It's
Really?
Java.
Yeah.
Dude, did you know that Crimson's been dead this whole time?
That's option A, or option B is he hacked into your computer.
I'll go with option B.
Or option C, you accidentally started a server that he somehow joined.
Or option D, in which just Java.
So 50% of the answer choices are Java. Seems legit. So Jordan, you know Aaron the most. How do you think his response would have been to this part of the session that he missed?
I sent him a text that said Kadir got staked in Elysium by Duke Wiley, and he's like, first question was, how did you guys find out? And I was just like, I was there. He's like, oh, and that's been it.
It's great.
There's like a bunch of information he doesn't know. All he knows is Kadir got staked at Elysium by Duke Wiley, and I was there for some reason.
Yep. You should have also told him that Gerard talked to you. Said I did a good job.
I said Gerard called Kadir a bitch, but that's about it. There's basically, I named 3 people: Duke Wiley, Kadir, and Gerard. That's it. So he knows there was 4 people at Elysium for some reason, one of them being me.
There's a setup to a bad joke in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
2 Toreador, I don't even know what the Baron is, I've forgotten. But 2 Toreador, Nosferatu, and a Baron walk into a bar.
The Duke, I believe he's Bruja.
It makes sense, I just can't remember.
I mean, he could be something else, but he doesn't show an outward sign of a derangement, so he's not a Malkavian. He's not a fleshcrafter. That goes without saying. I doubt he's a Tremere because the Tremere usually stick within their clan or in Camarilla. This leaves really only two clans that he could be, theoretically, are Toreador or Brujah, and I'm leaning towards Brujah because Toreador usually side with the Ivory Tower.
You don't think he could be an anti-tribute from one of the Sabbat clans or an independent?
He could be, but I don't think he would have designed a character like that.
Okay.
I mean, you could prove me wrong, but
I might change stuff right now, who knows?
I mean,
He's totally a sombre anti-tribute.
All that matters is that the Wily Fist has made himself evident in a few situations where
he's made some fans. I think he's made some fans.
Well, certainly today, especially when Larry was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, made some fans. I mean, Marcus is sort of like, he can appreciate and respect the guy for what he does. He's like, I just can't things. But yeah, Duke Wily is kind of badass. Boss Callahan has the swagger of a man from his era, I believe. And I don't know when he's from. He could be acting. He could be from like 1930. He could be like from like the 1950s and from Jersey, but he's acting like he's from whatever.
From whatever.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned in the chat, I don't know what y'all, I mean, everyone else thought, but I just got a picture like Mark Twain in my head with the description Grimith gave, way back in session 4 or 5. So, for whatever reason.
Certainly a great idea to imagine it would be sort of like the late 1800s corrupt, perhaps customs official. Someone like, say, Boss Tammany. The portly gentleman who is, failed to update himself at the time, so he still looks as if he belongs in the 1860s rather than the 1990s. His full beard and his suit and his fucking monocle and the top hat and the cane.
He certainly does make for an interesting figure.
I mean, he is a vampire, right? They're all interesting. So, Kadir al-Asmai has been staked. Helen Panhard has met final death. The Anarchs are apparently in on this. And the Nosferatu apparently sided with the Anarchs on this. The Anarchs are apparently fully supporting Marlena the Brujah to become the next Prince of New York.
And we don't know what the hell's going on with the Tremere or the Malkavians.
No, the Tremere, likely, at least no one that Marcus recognized, showed up to this meeting. But then again, not every single kindred in New York City showed up to the thing either. Not like it was televised. Like advertised. Bulletin boards and, posters going out.
But yeah, Marlena has suddenly become a much more interesting candidate. I say interesting in a derisive term.
Because again, no one in the party has seen her. That's right. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Monster trucks.
Sheriff gets staked.
I'd watch it.
For a moody future, no. A Brujah prince would probably just act like any other prince,
Marlena has a pretty laissez-faire type of attitude towards the whole situation. She would likely delegate some affairs towards folks in a cabinet that she would appoint. Certainly, she would have Primogen. There might not be Primogen representatives from every clan, though, and As all princes tend to do, she would, of course, put in folks who would at least be neutral towards her. And since the Anarchs apparently are giving her their full support, she probably has a more friendly attitude towards the Anarchs as well. And seeing as how she's not a Ventru Toreador Tremere, it's possible that the Nosferatu might be able to do something with her too.
Yeah. She, that's the thing, though. I believe that you'll probably end up we're gonna end up seeing the Ivory Tower still go to civil war between two people. It's just gonna be the triumvirate of Tremere, Toreador, Ventru versus everyone else.
Because at this point, consider this. The Ventru, a reasonable and logical candidate for them. I mean, they have left Valentine. Valentine doesn't want to become prince. The Toreador had Kadir al-Asmai to suggest. Not exactly a popular or a likable guy, but he was theirs. He's respected enough. And he lost his goddamn mind at Elysium, got staked by an anarch, and apparently now there's this whole sort of collusion type thing, particularly with, the Nosferatu siding with the Anarchs and accusing him of apparently having been dominated by Tzimisce. So at that point, they're kind of like, do we just go with the Warlock?
I mean, yeah, the Toreador aren't a unified clan, so they won't, go wholesale to any one people.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting when it was noted that while all the shit was going down, Valentine was one of the few people who just kept a straight face during the entire thing. So I'd like to know what's going through his head right then.
One of the few thoughts might have been, son of a bitch, Byron.
Hey man, Byron warned him twice, so I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens with that?
Yeah, so this is just it's going to be an interesting session next Saturday. We'll see what the effects of David have on the game.
Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know how. I mean, that he could have been around that place too, because he going into meet with.
He met with Gerard. I think he met with Gerard and like 7 other Nosferatus. And wouldn't you know, there was exactly 8 Nosferatus at the place.
Right, that's what I caught that too. I just couldn't remember the guy's name, and all my things closed down. But it's yeah. So I mean, he would have had a conversation, and then the Nosferatu would have gone to the meeting. So who knows? He could already know what's going down in game terms, if not as a player.
That's a faux pas, person 4242.
Yes, it is considered rather rude and quite unfortunate if you are unable to control yourself, particularly in an area which basically forbids violence.
It's only a capitalist if you actually kill someone, if you actually final death another vampire while you're doing it, probably.
Yeah, just think of like Dan Quayle or Joe Biden, some of the comments that they've made, and it's kind of right there. It kind of makes you think, oh my gosh, not again.
Don't speak of Daniel like that. He is a son of the Hoosier state. I have no idea what a Hoosier is, but he is a son of one.
Larian asks, is the movie theater hunted or not, or is it kind of spoiler territory?
I don't think any of us hunted the theater. I mean, what would you use at the
I
haunted
mean,
theater?
I slept there. I don't think it's hunted.
Excuse me, if we're going to go with that, then it wasn't theater, it was that ring.
No, it might be haunted, but then again, Grimith has teased us with other things of the supernatural. He said there might be lupines at Central Park. Damn, that can't be real.
No,
He's-
instead we got Sevalot. It's
We got-
worse than haunted. It's like got another antediluvian under it.
Yeah, but
Another
He's also-
antediluvian. Sevalot's not an antediluvian, John.
No, not
I mean-
not Sevalot.
Lombok Ruthin.
No. Why can't I think of her name?
What did she do? Jezebel?
No, the one we saved. Why can I not think of her name?
Leslie Cutter.
Leslie.
She's an antediluvian?
Yes. Either that or Kane. We remember we settled this.
She's Kane. Because Kane's apparently a female now.
Then why did you give Germaine such a hard time for giving an antediluvian to Sevalot? Like, she couldn't handle that?
I mean,
Because
come
it
on.
was giving an antediluvian to Sevalot. I mean,
I don't think...
Is he really giving the antediluvian, or is the antediluvian allowing the process to be facilitated?
Sean, let's be honest here. And if an antediluvian wanted to, an antediluvian could probably just kill Sevalot without even trying.
yeah, that's actually the rules.
They are gods.
Yeah, if I remember right, only another antediluvian can kill another antediluvian.
I mean, even the Week of Nightmares is Ravnos killing their antediluvian, and pretty much took every single one of them to kill it. Crazy things happened.
Metal Slime Hunt. Kane has every single discipline possibly imaginable.
And those even impossible for anyone to learn.
You have Throw Rock. Kane has Deflect Rock.
Hacks. But then again, he is Kane.
Yeah, the antediluvians get 10 dots, which the rules basically say do whatever the fuck you want, and Kane gets more than 10 dots.
Yes, if an antediluvian is in torpor, you can diablerize them. That's kind of how
That's how the Tremere came into power, yes, and certainly the Giovanni, how they replaced Clan Cappadocian. But, you know, there might end up being some unfortunate side effects by eating a third-generation vampire.
I mean, didn't Bruja himself got... There's a whole Bruja thing where someone diablerized the antediluvian, and then there's a whole bunch of whatever. Weird things happen when you ingest blood that powerful.
Yes. The primary thing that you have to keep in mind with this old World of Darkness material is that it's all presented in character. So, all of it may be true, some of it may be true, none of it may be true. In traditional White Wolf fashion, they have left everything vague, just like the rules. So no one knows what's real.
That said, and on top of that, they actually say in virtually every book, do whatever the fuck you want.
Welcome to White Wolf, where the points are made up and nothing matters. That's right, the points don't matter. I fucked that up. God damn it. Veit Voff. It's not really stated who invented the disciplines, it's just sort of... They're there.
The game lore would suggest that Kane somehow obtained the disciplines through Lilith. But really, that's beyond the purvey of any player character, and almost every non-player character, so it doesn't matter.
Like, I hate to say this, but the only person who might know who invented the disciplines is Thomas Becket, and that's just because that's all he does, is research vampire shit.
Yeah, and even then, I think the point that you know for sure is kind of the day it ceases to matter and you're dead. Because I mean, it is Gehenna happening.
Yeah, either you're dead or you've somehow diablerized like Cain.
Or
Larian, it is possible the coterie may see Leslie Cutter again. It's also possible the coterie may see Sevalod Cerveni again. Or Helen Panhard. She might not actually have met Final Death. Or Kadir El-Asmai.
That said, if we see Sevalot again, I don't want to do it without a source block.
Yeah. What we might have to consider now is that, Sevalod might come into the city. If he hasn't already.
Dun dun dun. Why would antediluvians go on a killing spree? Because they woke up from like 10 millennia of sleep, and they're crazy.
And hungry, and if I remember right, they are at the point where they can only drink vampire blood. I don't know how that's handled in the rules in like the 20th anniversary or even the old versions. I forget all of that.
Yeah. Even in New World of Darkness, it's only like if you get to high. It's only when you get like super high blood potency that you can only drink vampire blood. Remember?
First in 4242, it's been possible to tell now, since I'm sure the Kadir will still have some supporters, pretty much those people who did not attend, but that sort of kills a political career whenever that situation happens. At least here in this city.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to say what would have happened because you have so many variables that have to be taken into account of. Like, if he hadn't frenzied, maybe Marcus would have said something and all this other crap.
Right.
Which antediluvians are you most afraid of? All of them.
And, as I ended up stating earlier, Kadir frenzying was not something that was planned. It just, I decided, you know what, we'll go ahead and make a self-control roll for him for outright public humiliation. This fucking Nosferatu and goddamn Anarchs combining during his, moment of triumph. And he botched. And so I was like, well, I made the roll. When you botch a self-control roll to avoid frenzying, you are lost, and you cannot spend willpower to try to get that back. You are gone for the entire scene.
It's kind of not a good idea to frenzy in front of most of the, quite a few of the other politically active vampires in the scene.
Yes.
Well, I mean, in the end, though, he's actually lucky that Wiley staked him right then, because had he done any damage to anybody, then it might have been a problem, because he would have attacked people in Elysium. I'm sure he was frenzying, but kind of a no-no.
Well, perhaps Kadir expected to, be the next and new prince of New York City. Probably his goal. Metal Slime Hunt asks, can players regain their humanity? Maybe.
You can buy it, but it's very expensive. I think it's
And
2
you have
times
to
your
role
level.
play it. Yeah, and you have to role play it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Well, Larian, that he certainly wasn't going to be killing anyone there. He's kinda outnumbered. He might have hurt one person. But, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the sheriff, not the most powerful vampire in the room. Even without the Anarchs.
I mean, you had the Valentine there, who is of at least equal, if not not lower generation than him, who could just probably dominate him into stopping.
You have
I mean,
Uncle Smelly, Gerard Rayfin. You have Catherine Weiss. You have, basically, in addition to Valentine, the entire contingent of Ventru probably wouldn't have stood for Toreador getting uppity.
Yep.
Interesting potential sport. I would have thought it was a no-brainer.
I mean, that's what would have happened.
I mean, none of those vampires individually could survive the entire group coming after them.
I mean, I think it. I mean, I'm not speaking from experience here, but I think even if Cephalon would have, he'd be hard pressed to keep all of them down for a while, all of them off.
If
But
if
even
he
then-
was isolated in there and they were at such a close distance to him, yes.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. He's smart, and he's not going to be in Elysium frenzying.
I mean, sure, you can take 2 to 3 if you're only fighting 2 to 3. If you're fighting 40, you don't have the time to fight 2 to 3.
Yeah, you just get dogpiled. I mean, you can probably rip someone's face off, but then you're down. That's it.
And then, that vampire whose face got ripped off regenerates his face.
Exactly.
I mean, an 8th generation guy frenzying still would probably have a hard time beating 40 13th gen guys just dogpiling on him. Numbers are useful.
And Archon Theo Bell certainly couldn't have taken every single one of them.
I mean, he's a pretty powerful guy.
Match could make a reappearance. As with all these questions that end up being asked, I give the same padded response with, it could happen.
Yeah, well, sooner or later, Byron's going to remember he needs a gun because he doesn't have any weapons. So he's probably going to give Match a call for that. But the Astoria Estates kind of, it doesn't have a lot of money right now because they're dumping money into the cinema, and who knows? So who knows how much money Byron has at present to buy those things?
Blockhead informed boss Callahan. Blockhead's an antediluvian, everyone.
I believe it.
I'm not surprised.
It will be the last thing you ever hear.
Now the question is, which Antiluvian is he? I mean, I have been meaning to go back to the place as Marcus, but I just never get the chance because every single time we have some shit that's going on that's more important, I'm like, well, I can't go to the costume party. Damn it.
Any more serious questions or remarks that you three have to make or ask of me or ask of each other?
Yeah, well, I have one thing. I was kind of surprised that Marcus didn't say hi to Valentine because he's pretty much the only one in the room that he knows. But I guess he was trying to be subtle.
I thought about it, be like, I don't want them to notice I'm there because...
Oh, subtle joke, right here at the end of the session.
I thought we were going to get through this entire session without one happening.
Can't happen. Can't happen. The universe would collapse.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Jordan, Gripson just wants to watch the world burn.
All right.
Well, person 4242, the coterie bought the theater with the intent on fixing its ruinous condition.
I mean, we spent about a couple hours after like the last session just talking about super long-term plans that probably will never happen, and a lot of them were like, yeah, we need to keep buying up land here and there.
Also, movie theater, not play theater.
We actually talked about that back and forth too. But yes, it's cinema.
We still don't know yet either. it could go either way. I
I
think
mean, they can definitely change the designation of the building. It's theirs now, just that it formerly served as a cinema.
If anyone wants to learn occult, I do have 2 dots in it, so that means I have more than just an idiot's amount of knowledge in it.
I still learn faster from just sneaking my way into classes, wouldn't I?
Probably.
It'd certainly be more convenient, poke your head in for, sort of like a basic knowledge. You attend regularly over the course of a month or perhaps 2, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, so yeah, I'll probably not be asking for that if it'll be quicker the other way. That said, I just was not expecting midnight theology classes or occult classes or whatever any else classes.
Well, you're in New York, the concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do.
Then in New York. I would actually kind of expect there to be some like almost 24-hour community colleges that are still running classes there.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just not used to big cities.
Neither am I. I spend most of my life living in small cities.
Who said that's Larian? I mean, Larian, who said that's Germain? You said that was Germain. I never said it was Germain. Oh!
I mean, we thought it was someone using presence, which last we learned, Terrain didn't have. But it could be anything. Could be Grimith just trying to fuck with our heads.
Yeah, well,
I've never done that before.
The description made it sound like Jermaine, but I mean,
Could be someone else trying to fuck with our heads.
True enough. I think it's just one of those things where I don't know that it can be solved from that angle at all. Maybe it can be tracked down by the inspector that condemned Joseph's church that seems to not show up on any records, but I don't know. I don't know if it's worth following up on right now.
Yeah, that said, it didn't look like there was any way to pull any more information out of that because they were doing everything they could, and I doubt if they could look through their notes and not find anything. I doubt any of us would be able to because there's probably nothing there.
Right. I mean, that's definitely the conclusion that I came to and Byron came to, and that's why he's just like, let's just cover all this up for now. If it comes back to haunt us, we can then open up the can of worms, but not right now.
Too many people trying to kill us. Let's just deal with one at a time.
And not stick our heads in the fire.
No fire, what? Alright, you motherfuckers.